And we're back with some more oxygen not included. And before we left this planet, I thought we'd have a quick go over some of the changes I did in the background just to finish this planet off in between episodes. We've stuck in a quick gold volcano tamer here. You only need one steam turbine to tame gold, last I checked. It doesn't have a lot of heat in it. We've got 2 steam turbines to tame this iron volcano, though it went dormant the moment we actually finished it, so there's that. We've also tapped into a salt water geyser over here. This is 95C water, so we're actually pumping that back home. And we've got 95C hot water from over here. We're also pumping that back home by sending them into railguns. Because of course you do. That's exactly how you send things home. And you'll see here, where is it? Yeah, once the water hits 200 kilos, this one's almost done, it'll get shot in via railgun back to our home planet. And there you can actually see them there flying through space. Now if we go back home for a second, and this here is where they get unboxed. As in, they fall out of the sky. There's one of them right there now. And they're actually wrapped in genetic ooze. It's the same thing duplicants are made out of. It has a melting point of 9,726 degrees to stop us doing anything sneaky, like breaking them open with heat or something like that. They'll just get dumped into this payload opener. And this thing can sort multiple materials, as in it can do liquid, solids, and gases, as far as I can tell. So what happens is they just chuck it in there. You can actually do 2 at a time as well. And then once it's opened up, it goes into the storage of this. This thing can actually store about 2 tons, or actually no, it can store more than 2 tons. I've seen this hold about 20 tons of water in it, so it can hold an awful lot of materials. And then they all get pumped out. What I'm doing is I'm sorting them though, because I want the clean water to go into our clean water tank, and any salt or brine goes over here. And the thing is, I didn't want to run any more piping. Our game is already chronically slow, so instead I'm just dropping this water all the way down here, all the way through here. Yep, all the way. It keeps going, keeps going, keeps going until it gets to the bottom. And then we have a liquid pump down here, pumping that water into our desalination system, or well, our water filtration. You can see down here, all of our water is still getting filtered nice and handy. In fact, germ-wise, how are we looking? Yeah, we've been putting in some polluted, germy water. Those germs are just incredibly tough. It takes some time for them to die off, and we just keep adding more. So there's 31,000 food germs in there, dying off at 367% per cycle. Doesn't seem to be slowing them down too much, though. Right, over here, you can see we're slowly but surely digging our way through all the magma. We're just increasing our diamond temperature shift plate range on that side, and on this side, it's a little bit slower on this side, but that's to be expected, namely because, well, there's more heat mass to draw from. Soon enough we can extend our water tank even further. And our water tank is glorious. Look at that. I know that took most of an entire episode to do, but that was still... I'm actually kind of thinking that was totally worth it. That is an enormous water tank. All right, but before we head on to our next planet, I think the next planet we're going to head to is going to be Modilius. I was advised there's a tree on Modilius that can allow us to get things. I was going to do Tostibio, well, whatever, the toasty planet. But this one here, we should be able to fly there and go grab this tree that gets us insulation. Or was it Gasilio? You know what? Doesn't make a difference. But what I have learned is, this game is really slow. It's just, it can't handle the... it's in development mode still, so it's actually operating much slower than normal. That would explain why, as we try to do big projects, it takes forever. So I'm going to want a larger crew for the next section. So I'm thinking we're going to do ourselves up a second crew module and bring ourselves 6 duplicants next round. On top of that, this little system over here for generating radiation, yeah, this thing was entirely way too successful. You'll see there how many tons of nuclear waste are in there. That's 21 tons, or was it 2,154 tons, of nuclear waste. Radiation-wise, this thing is, 8,027 rads per cycle. See these rad bolts down here? Watch how quickly they generate. Yeah. Compressing nuclear waste to make rads is just... Yeah, I had to remove all the ladders around here because one of my dupes walked past this at one point to grab something, and they got radiation poisoning. Just instantly went, I think it was 150 was their exposure after just walking past it, and that was a while ago. This liquid pump keeps doubling whatever's underneath it, and yeah, it's just getting out of control. But that has given me an idea for back home. I haven't used infinite liquid storage or compression for anything, but I'm thinking if we use infinite liquid compression for some nuclear waste, we could generate ourselves an awful lot of rads to run a program I want to get around to in a little bit of time. But first we'll send this home. Alright, now that they're on the way back, we can start doing... Are they on the way back? Yeah, there we go. Let's hope we didn't burn any pipes doing this. I put sedimentary pipes there, but I think they'll be fine, right? Don't melt them. The radiation rocket actually produces far less heat than most of the other types, so I'm pretty confident it's not going to... Okay, didn't get near 900. We're cool. We're cool. That's this planet done. Well, for now, there's still work that really needs to be done here. I would love to core out this whole map and then just sweep it all up to improve performance. Unfortunately, we don't have enough labour for that. 3 duplicates was just not enough. We can't even leave it run for hundreds of cycles because it's just the game's a little bit too chuggish even for that. It's unstable and keeps falling over. Instead, we'll just have to come back at a later date. So for now, let's put ourselves together a little radiation generation device to replace all of this other stuff we've been using. First thing we need to do is clean up the old mess, and then we're going to install a new mess in its place. The plan here is quite simple. We're going to use infinite liquid storage. Now, normally I avoid that like the plague because, well, I like glorious liquid tanks like this, or just, you know, it feels wrong to trivialize something like this or putting in storage tanks. They should take up space. They should be an inconvenience. But in this instance, we're going to use it to generate just loads and loads of radiation to power our rockets because it's just so convenient. I know I just railed about the inconvenience of, or dealing with the inconvenience of liquid tanks, but you know what? For radiation generation, it's just annoying sometimes just waiting for the stuff to generate. So instead, we're going to put in, well, some petroleum right here. We're going to put in 200 kilos of petroleum. That 200 kilos of petroleum will act as a... Actually, I'll demonstrate once we've got it in there. There goes our petroleum there. 200 kilos should be more than enough. We'll set that to sweep only. And you can see that petroleum will just sit there at the bottom of that tile. So far, so good. Then we just put in an airflow tile to seal the top of it in. With the top airflow tile in place, this whole thing is sealed. And we're going to start pumping in nuclear waste. All right, where is it? Ah, there we go. It'll start flowing. Now, let's check the rads before we start filling this up. There's going to, should be about, what, 25 rads because it's exposed to the vacuum of space. Well, exposed to space. That should flow in there, and as that goes in, that should start going up slowly. We should go up to 26 in a little bit. Yeah, 26. Yeah. What's happening here is the nuclear waste comes at the top. There is petroleum in the way, so it forces the petroleum out of the way and it sinks to the bottom. Namely because nuclear waste is heavier than petroleum, so it always, like petroleum always floats on top. Now this is all well and good and normal, but what will happen now is once this goes above its, where is it? What's the maximum pressure on this? 1,000 kilos? Once it goes above 1,000 kilos and loading screen, then once it goes above 1,000 kilos, what should realistically happen is you shouldn't be able to cram any more nuclear waste in there. But because the nuclear waste is coming out at the top where it's only 200 kilos of petroleum pressure, it has no problems coming out. These liquid vents only overpressurize at 1,000 kilos, and because that petroleum is always floating there on top, and the petroleum shoves the nuclear waste down, and there we go. Just keeps going, and going, and going. And you can cram, well, I won't say infinite. There's actually a hard limit on it, but due to the storage numbers that are used by the actual computer program itself. But you can get to ridiculously high numbers. If we'll check here, we'll see we're up to 36 rads, and that's only going to keep going up. So as we put in more and more nuclear waste in there, we're just going to end up with more and more rads we can draw upon in that section. It just makes dealing with radiation and generating large quantities of it, instead of having to fire rockets back and forth or explode nuclear reactors, or, I mean, even if you're running a reactor, what's the most we can get out of this? Like, we have 2 reactors right beside each other here, and we're getting 700 in the middle. So, assuming you can deal with all the steam, 700 rads is the most you're going to get. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just... this will just trivialize most of our radiation needs. And the thing is, you can do this on multiple planets if you really want to, so long as you have enough nuclear waste. And we generate a lot of nuclear waste out of this power plant. Yeah, you can see the big stream of nuclear waste being pumped up there. It's not a continuous 10 kilos per second, but I'd say it's about an average of 5, which means we can generate just ridiculous quantities of it. We've been just dumping it into the background of space, but with a little bit of compression, you can do it this way. Another way you could do it is you could just make a giant column and then compress it down by building diagonally, though that will work with the vacuum of space. You need to do that with an actual background. The reason being you can't build diagonally and remove the drywall backing. It's the drywall that'd mess you up. And already we're up to 45 rads. Yeah, as you can see, this quickly starts to get out of hand. Alright, let's put in some radiation collectors. We're going to have one of them feed the diamond presses and one of them feed the rockets. I think that's all we really need them for. One thing we do have to worry about in the background of space is these things heating up. You can see that those things generate a lot of heat. That one's up to about 64. These ones here are going to melt soon enough. But that doesn't matter. We don't really need them. In fact, I might actually feed their... I might feed them into the diamond presses in a second. But first, let's take care of these. Simplest thing to do, we're going to spill some liquid on them. Petroleum. I'll copy that across to over there. What'll happen is the petroleum will spill down here, and a little blob of it will take up this spot. we've put back there is a temperature shift plate. It's igneous rock, it doesn't need to be anything fancy, and it's going to draw temperature out or share temperature with this nuclear waste, of which there is 5 tons of it. Meaning this will be able to dump its heat into the nuclear waste, and unless it drives the nuclear waste temperature above 500 degrees, which is not going to be possible considering the sheer mass of it, plus we keep adding in more. Let's just say it would take, the amount of cycles it would take to do that is kind of incredible. So we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to use that as a nice localized cooling solution, and it's a very simple way of doing it. There we go, you're done. Finished. And you're also done. Perfect. And there we go. Now the temperature is going to spike up because it's going to equalize with what's in there, so about 125 degrees. But after that it should stabilize. I can't see these going above like 130 or so. And done. Perfectly stable system. Well, stable so long as we keep pumping in nuclear waste, and so long as we keep running our reactors, and so long as we have 40 tons of enriched uranium. So, yeah, we got another 2,000 cycles of power and nuclear waste to work with. I think we'll be fine for quite some time. Now, 1 second while I dump all these rad bolts into these diamond presses before they overheat. I don't want to waste them. I really do like the addition of the diamond press. The ability to just churn out lots and lots of diamond, considering how much I like them for temperature shift plates. This makes a really nice upgrade. We're almost back up to about 50 tons of diamond, even after we spent... how much diamond down here? Like just stupid amounts of diamonds. Each one of these temperature shift plates is 800 kilos of diamond. And we have burned through them, no problems at all. And we've still got diamond in the bank. I do definitely like the upgrade. Anyway, with that done, I think we've spent these, have we? Yeah, you are completely dry, you can go, and you are down to like 78, you can go. Right, we've got rid of our old rad bolt selection. Now this new one over here is slowly ramping up. What are we up to? 225 rads there, 225 rads there. That's just going to get more and more out of hand as the game goes along. I'm okay with that. Now, let me see about configuring our newest rocket. Now, this one over here, this design worked out pretty well, but it did have a few bugs that we need to work out. Namely, there it is. You can see that there's a little bit of polluted oxygen there in the gas pipe. The reason for that is to do with how the toilets work. They produce polluted dirt, and the polluted dirt off gases, and that's collecting in the system. So, we are going to go with a slightly different rocket design for this one here. So, let me demonstrate how this is going to work. You are going to notice that this is incredibly similar to the last one, but we made one just tiny design change to make this more sustainable. By tiny design change, it's all down to the ventilation system. Now what happens here is the oxygen is going to get sent across here, and we've got this same powerless gas filter as before. This basically just rotates 1 gram of oxygen through here, and anything that tries to get across here that's not oxygen won't be allowed. So only oxygen is allowed across this route, and all of that stuff flows down here and into our gas suits. Now, if it's not oxygen, it'll get shunted out here to the left. And that will get dumped down here and dropped off right above this storage bin. The reason for that is any carbon dioxide, any polluted oxygen, anything like that ends up trying to overwrite ends up above this storage bin. The storage bin contains oxalite and will immediately overwrite it, assuming it's below 1.8 kilos of gas pressure, which it will be because you can only have about 500 grams coming out of it at a time. So that means we can destroy any gases that are not oxygen, and they'll just get dumped in there. Of course, there is this sort of weird messy of bridge things. This is a little bit more complicated to explain. It's an oldie, but it's just been a while since I've had to explain it. So let's just do a big open plan one here. This here is an elongated version of what we've got inside the rocket. We've got oxygen coming from over here. It comes across this bridge, and if this is oxygen, it's allowed through, and it gets through to the atmosuit docks. If it's not oxygen, we shunt it off to wherever. We're just using a gas tank as sort of a visual indicator. The problem we face is this. What happens when these atmosuit docks fill up? Then the oxygen is going to back up in the pipe and keep backing up and keep backing up, and then eventually we're going to be dumping oxygen over here. We don't want to do that. Inside the rocket, that'll cause overpressurization and just complications in general. So what we need is a way to detect that these are full, and the moment they're full, we turn off the gas pump. That's what we want to do. So what we've done to take care of that problem is, this system here. Take this here, for example. This is pumping gas through here, and then what we'll do is we'll have this shunt off to the side when it backs up. So once this line is full of oxygen all the way up to here, it'll overflow into that section. And then once it's overflowed into that section, we'll put a sensor on it. Sensors are down here. We'll say gas element sensor, and we want to say, yep, you detect some oxygen in there. If you detected oxygen in there, we want you to send out a signal to turn off the gas pump. And to do that, we'll use a little bit of automation. And done. We actually have to put in a not gate here, but don't worry about that. That's not too much of a deal. You can copy and paste these things later. It's more the theme we're trying to get across here, or the actual how this works. And then what happens is, we've got oxygen backed all the way up to here. The sensor said, hey, turn off the gas pump. However, we need to have this be able to clear if this needs more oxygen. So what we do is we pump that back in like that. So this comes back down here and pushes in. What will happen is oxygen will come down here. It backs up until it hits that, which turns off the gas pump. Then once this wants more oxygen, it'll start pulling oxygen, and the oxygen will be pulled off this line primarily, and only off this line once that's cleared. So what happens is this oxygen instead goes across, this whole section clears, and then once it clears that point there, it turns the gas pump back on. Of course, yeah, I know that's complicated, but the thing is you can compress this down a lot, like just way too much. So instead what you end up doing is this. 1, 2, gas pipes go in like this, and then the gas pipes go out like that. We've basically just taken this entire system and compressed it down nice and tiny. Gas pipe element sensor goes right there. Honestly, I had to look this up again because it's been so long since I used it. And then you have the automation wire coming out, going into a NOT gate. All this is this rather larger version compressed down really, really small, which is what we need because we're sticking it inside a rocket. And that means that this, well, okay, we've got a little bit of oxygen overflow, but that was my bad. I did some mess ups at the start until I ironed out the kinks. But this should mean that anything that is not oxygen will get destroyed by getting output here. Nothing's being output at the moment because we're overpressured. And then we have done the exact same thing this side by re-jerry-rigging it. Now, one thing to note, because this is also a little bit of a problem with it, we need to make sure that this is long enough. Oh, wait, let me try and explain. Or short enough. What happens is this sends the signal when the gas backs up to there. There's the actual pipe element sensor. So when the gas backs up to there, it has to send a signal to turn that off. And you've got to make sure that there's enough room in these pipes that this can all flow clear. Otherwise, it'll back up on this side. And that is the extremely convoluted way of how we ended up with this rocket gas pipe design. But yeah, that's it. It's it. It's done. It should be finished. We shouldn't have to worry about it again. And I should really delete those so that no one tries to build them. Good. Now, you'll notice this here has lots of solar panels. We're going to use this as our power supply when we get to the other planet. We're going to use this as the Trailblazer modules to land. So this will be our landing ship to get us onto the planet, and this will be what will power us while we're down there. I was finding our dupes were spending a lot of time on the manual generator, so why not? We also could have split it half and half, where there was one Trailblazer module on each, but I like to have a dedicated rocket for things. Now, give me 5 minutes while we tidy this up, and it's time to go to the next planet. Before we blast off, we do want to get some supplies on board. So we've picked up 1 ton of plastic, 5 tons of steel, 5 tons of lead. Lead will be for wires, steel will be for heat-resistant things, plastic will be for steam turbines. We also got a ton of glass for solar panels, 20 tons of dirt for the toilets, and 20 reed fibers so that we can repair our Atmos suits when they get damaged. We're basically making this ship an all-in-one. You can colonize the place and stay there for a long period of time before you're ever going to have to return home. And we did the exact same thing over the other side. Now we'll just deconstruct those boxes. We don't need them anymore. And then we'll replace them with what was there before, which was the fridge and the manual generator. Our Trailblazer rocket is good to go. We've loaded up the 3 crew members. You'll notice that we've let them keep their suits on and get past the checkpoint. Reason for that is they're going to unequip those suits now. Perfect, perfect, and perfect. That gives us 3 spare backup suits while they're in here. We're also going to enable that as well, and maybe turn that off. Maximum priority, there's no need for that. And we are good to launch. Alright, so plan is, oh wow, I forgot the 2 Trailblazer modules are going to be key for this. We're going straight over here. There is no rocket platform. Use a Trailblazer module. That is fine. That's good. Done, done, done. Now let's launch the sucker. Begin the launch sequence. Everyone's good to go. Boom. And we're off. And over here we're having this rocket load up as well. We're going to have 3 duplicates in this, and they're going to follow on once that rocket has left. How are we looking? Yeah, we've only got 2 of you. Where's the 3rd one? Come on, we just need 1 more. Once we've got all 3 loaded, we'll launch this as well to follow up along the Trailblazer rocket. This rocket here is an awful lot more solar panels. I think that'll come in handy on the other side. How are we looking on the star map? First rocket's done. The second rocket will be joining it shortly. Perfect. Let's go and see what this new planet holds in store for us. In fact, I think if you hit oversee planetoid, we can see our options for landing. Oh wow, this is a narrow planet. That's not a lot of space. Well, we don't really mind too much. We're just going to land and then, maybe over here? That looks like a nice flat area. I don't want to land on top of this junk up here. That's just going to make it further. We'll have to travel to get to where we want to go. One very important thing, enable the toilets. I've accidentally left the toilets disabled a few times, and that gets messy. I also assigned out the beds and the mess tables. Usually they do go and sign out the tables, mess tables and beds themselves, but you can never be sure, so better safe than sorry. How's the other team doing? Yeah, you're all good. Perfect. They should be at their new destination or their new home for... Actually, it's a team of 6. I've never seen a team of 6 to another planet, but it'll be fine. Our second rocket is about to enter orbit with both of them in place. This one actually... What are you doing? How? What? No. No, no, no. Stay there. You... Stay there. Had I set this to round trip? Yeah, that was the problem. Never mind. That's why that one wanted to return. For some reason, this one, which I launched first, arrived here slightly later than the first one. Not half later, just a few seconds. Well, about a minute later. I don't think it was the rocket pilot, though. I'm not sure exactly what was doing that. Let's select who to put in here. We want Joel in that one, and we're going to want Chief Multi-Hat in the other. The reason being better construction skills. Oh, yeah, actually, who has the best construction skills? And before we launch them, we should probably make sure they're wearing some decent clothes. Chief Multi-Hat, I'd like you to put on an Atmos suit. Actually, we'll take these Atmos suits on off the wall. These ones are... Oh, God, it's lunchtime? Fine. Have lunch. Take a nap. Once you're finished, then we'll do it. First thing in the morning, we get them to stick on their Atmos suits. That way they should have oxygen. What you doing? Why are you putting them back on the rack? I never... You know what? It's fine. There's more over here. Put those on instead. Nowhere to dump them now. Now, I will make this clearance always... Yeah, clearance always is grand. Though, actually, no, clearance vacancy only. Yeah, clearance vacancy only should be good for that. Let's load them up into the pods and launch them to the planet's surface. We have Joel here. We're going to deploy them to the planet, and we're going to send them down. Ooh, right here should be fine. Ooh. You know what? Let's put them... We'd like to leave some space, so we'll put them right there. Perfect. Now, how's Chief Multi-Hat doing? Please tell me you haven't taken off the suit. Okay, Chief Multi-Hat's still fine. Planet-wise, tell me which planet is it? Moldia? No, wait, no. Moldiolos. There we go. Perfect. This actually gets us nice and deep into the planet, and we can cut in across here if needs be. Nice. Okay, we're going to want to... Nope, Joel. Oh, you're... It doesn't look like you have a helmet because, yeah, there's a graphical glitch whenever they land this way. All right, next up, we're going to get Chief Multi-Hat. You. We're going to deploy you right... Actually, it doesn't really matter. There's fine. Perfect. Back to the planet. Joel, when I get to deconstructing that, we sent Joel first because they have the best construction skill of all the dupes. And we'll deconstruct that one too. That is perfect. Then we're going to want to put ourselves together a rocket platform made out of steel because both of those things, both of those Trailblazer modules were specifically made of steel. Yeah, right there I think should be fine. It's tight up against the edge of the map, but we don't mind so much. And then while that's going on, yeah, while they're digging that, let's make space for our next rocket module. Actually, we don't have any rocks to play with, do we? Damn it. Let me think about this for a second. We're actually going to have Chief Multi-Hat go up here and dig their way up. They can cut themselves out of stairs. Though we still have to cut out space for the second rocket platform. But as long as the first one can land, the other one can rotate, stay in orbit around the planet as long as we need. How? How have you... That's amazing. That is... Now the question is, do we land the rocket first? No. We don't land the rocket first. God damn it, Joel. Duplicants, they never fail to impress with their just incredible stupidity. Anyway, we'll just put the rocket platform right there. Thank you very much. Yeah, now don't get your head stuck in it this time. Dear Lord. Alright, let me do a little bit more building here. And Joel manages to complete it this time without getting themselves killed. Or, I mean, entombed. Fine. Dazzling Adios. That was, I believe... I wish I could rename the rockets. Yes, this was definitely the correct rocket. We're on the right place. We're fine. We'll land the rocket there. Perfection. All right, you guys, let's dig some more space. We're going to have a second rocket landing shortly, and we're going to need to dig out the space for it. We need exactly how many tiles? 7 tiles of space. Ooh. Yeah, we got this. First thing we're, of course, going to want to do is build a ladder. The ladder is going to be necessary so we can get in and out of our accommodations. Now, can you actually get... That's only a 2-tile hop. Yeah. It's grand. As well as that, we didn't bring enough rocks with us so that we should have been able to build these ladders from the inside. Perfect. View interior. Now, you. We will change this to clearance always. That way they should be able to hop back inside and drop off their suits on the ground. Actually, wait, they weren't assigned to the rocket. That was it. They stopped being crew the moment we launched them out of the Trailblazer modules. That's fine. Now they actually have a home. Nice. Please do recall, we did bring about 5 tons of steel with us, which means we can build a second rocket platform. And that means we can land the second rocket that's waiting in orbit. They'll be able to join us rather shortly, doubling our productivity on this planet, because honestly it's too slow otherwise to process planets with only 3 duplicates. There we go. Now I do want to make some changes here. First thing I want to do is you. Move down to there. Yeah, perfect. And you, I want you to move down there as well. Nice. And then we're going to put this up to there. And then we're going to get a power wire. Where is it? Actually, let's use steel. Nice. You. What are we doing? Sedimentary rock? Yeah, that's fine. That should get us up on both sides. Perfect. That will share power between the two of them. And that means these solar panels will all be working for this battery over here as well. Just means we won't have to, like over here, this gas pump actually uses more power than our solar panels can provide, which means this whole thing is a little bit energy negative, which means we do have to run on the manual generator. But I figure if we plug the two of them together, they can share power and there should be no more problems with that anymore. We also have plenty of fuel. We have 20 tiles remaining in our engines, which means there's going to be no problems getting home. We can stay here for as long as we want. We can even fire resources over and... Oh, this must be that tree. Let me just get a few bits and bobs together. Let's go have a look at this tree, shall we? Before we finish with the tree, or just have a look at it, I assume that's the tree in there. I just like to point out, this is the gas filter system in operation. You'll see it managed to shunt that piece of polluted oxygen aside, though it did put a tiny bit of oxygen, but I'm not too worried. That'll just get dumped over there. It's not the worst thing in the world. Now, the thing is, once, gas pump is shut down, and you'll notice the gas pump is shut down because this has stopped requiring oxygen, and that backed up to that pipe sensor. This means this whole thing should never break, shouldn't cause any damage, and should just keep running for very, very long periods of time, which is sort of exactly what we wanted. Now, at the same time, I'm thinking we're going to want some solar panels here, aren't we? Well, we're going to need solar panels as well just to generate excess power. Also, as well as that, hooking up those two batteries wasn't enough. I had to plug in the solar panels as well. It turns out the batteries don't share power. Unfortunate, but nope, that's fine. We can dig across here first, and I want to see what's inside this door. And here we have the tree. Okay. What the... Experiment 52B. Right, that's... I started putting a door here because I was worried I was going to kill whatever was in there, but I'm not sure that can die. That abomination? Jesus. Resumes using cybernetic tree that shows signs of sentience. It is rooted firmly in place and it appears to have been there for some time. 35 decor in a 6-tile radius. That's wonderful. Okay, I think you're supposed to feed this, though. How do you feed this thing? What even is it? Is that diamond or... Yeah, that's diamond tile up there. Right, I'm going to need to play with this before I can figure out what this is. That is, definitely interesting. There does not appear to be any inputs or outputs on the tree. No water, gas, anything. Automation, nothing. Well, I suppose it's it. What? What the hell was that? Did that just hit one of my people? Ow! What the... Okay, it's a violent tree. That's how it wants to play it. Does that mean we have to stay away from it? George, run away. Okay, then. This is new. We've got a violent tree. Was not expecting a violent tree. Will admit, that kind of surprised me. We're going to need some hospital beds. Also, we should probably get some... Oh, damn it. How do we fit a hospital bed inside a ship? Supposed to put the hospital beds outside? As long as you don't mind being in an Atmos suit while you're in a bed. Before we deal with this tree any further, I'm going to get rid of some of the nuclear waste that was lying about the place. We'll dump that into the vacuum of space. And we're also going to just secure some more resources because we just don't have a lot of sedimentary rock or anything to build with. We'll just build that across there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll just chop through here. Christ. Give me 1 second while I secure a little bit of resources. A little bit of digging has obtained us some sedimentary rock, and over here we're going to put in a refrigerator. What I want to see is, does this thing eat food? I've been told it eats food, but we're going to put in a kilo of berry sludge over here. Okay, and then we'll just drop it on the ground. You got the munchies there, buddy? Anything? You hungry? No? More experimentation required. Well, that was a bust, and we can't beat the ladder segment because we don't have the sufficient skills. We can fix that in a bit, but we're going to need some power, so we can have a skill scrubber and a few other bits and bobs. Yeah, it's going to be a while before we can get food any closer than that. You know what, we'll sweep that up. It doesn't seem to want the berry sludge. Though, it doesn't matter if you leave the berry sludge there or not. That stuff doesn't go off, even if you leave it lying in polluted water, it seems. Alright, this is going to be where we put our solar panels. We're just going to chuck them across the top and plug that into our grid. But I am out of time. I think we're going to have to start playing with a tree tomorrow. Next episode. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and good luck.